Hey guys, I'm Don.
I'm Shak.
Welcome to our new studio.
Yeah, we set this up over the past few days.
Yep.
This is actually our first episode recording in person together. Lockdown's over now. Well, it's easing down. Both double vaccinated.
Yep.
So yeah,
Good to be back with you.
it is.
Yeah.
But no. So hopefully, these videos will be much easier to make now. We can get more out to you.
Yep.
So the topic for this episode is: has video games made you smarter?
Yes.
They have. Yeah, no, I agree that video games has made us smarter, right? But why do you think so? Why?
I think it's not that directly video games made me as a smarter person, but it's because video games made me more curious. So it kind of led me to, just research and like read about different things that's outside your general scope of thought. So
Right,
some
so
really niche stuff.
exposed you to things that you
Yeah.
wouldn't have, been exposed to otherwise.
Yeah.
That's it's very true.
Yeah.
Like, what are some games that has done that?
Like, for example, even like mainstream games like Hades, like it I think kind of blew up this year as well. It was in the Game Awards. Games like Stardew Valley, or even some games like Binding of Isaac. I used to play that heaps when I was
Right.
in high school. So
Like,
Even-
Stardew Valley's a farming game, right?
yeah.
We're gonna farm in the middle of like the Australian city, right?
I feel like it's Stardew Valley. I really like is it's like escapism from your real world,
Right.
because right now it's kind of like an urban place.
And
sort
then
of,
that's another thing. Video games are engaging, and if it does teach you things, it's a fun way to learn.
yeah.
Which brings me to I mean, if you think that video games don't help little kids or just people in general learn things here and there, however small they might be, you'd have to be one like insane boomer, right? Because there have been studies where video games actually help like young developing kids gain like fundamental skills. Like, there has been a study where games, like interactive apps and games, help young developing kids learn fundamental skills, like just basic skills, right? But in that study, there was also a disclaimer where too many violent and only entertainment based games, they have an adverse effect
Right.
on young kids' minds. So there's obviously like a balance you have to keep,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
with most things.
It's with
but-
everything. Yeah.
most things.
Pretty
But I
much,
feel
yeah.
like with games, it's a bit more like the balance is a bit more tight, especially for
Right.
younger
Yeah.
people.
But
right?
what do you like? Let's say movies. There's educational movies, like historical movies, and there's like violent movies, or just movies just like action, just shooting, and
Entertainment,
killing stuff,
mindless entertainment.
So do you feel like the games that you play have more of an effect than the movies that are exposed to like children?
in terms of what effect?
Yeah, because you said how how like really violent video games, just mindless video games, that have a adverse effect on like young
Right,
minds.
so-
But then you said like educational games have a positive effect. But then how about how movies, they both have violent and like educational,
Right.
like,
So
stuff,
you're asking if video games have
a
more
great effect. Yeah.
Well, the great debate on like whether violent video games actually make you violent or not has been going on for a while, and I think the answer was no, they don't. So I don't think they make you violent, but they might have worse effects in terms of like other things.
Yeah.
But I do think that it has greater effects, or it has the potential to have greater effects, because it can get addicting. It also puts you in the driver's seat. It makes you do all the choice, like everything
Right.
that you're gonna do, and I think it's infinitely renewable. With movies and TV shows, once
Right.
you watch it, you're done. You can
Yeah,
like move
yeah,
on to something
basically.
else.
Yeah.
But with video games, especially online, online free to play competitive games, it's endlessly renewable, endlessly playable.
Yeah.
You can
And
sink
also-
way too much time into that.
Yeah, one thing about video games is that video games are designed in a way so that it kind of stimulates your what do you call it?
Dopamine receptors.
Dopamine and like happiness like system. So like you play a game, you get a reward, get happy chemicals.
You
So,
want to keep on doing that.
yeah, especially mobile games. I'm not sure if this is real, but I heard that like there's actual scientists that like helps like video game developers and even like social media developers like use science to like create these games or like social media platforms that actually stimulate your reward system even better.
Right.
So that's what I heard, and I feel like with games, that's more true than
It's
movies.
just amplified as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And then like we tend to learn things and kind of grow as a person through reward, working then like reward system, like
Right,
that kind
yeah.
of basis. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I feel like with the argument of the reward system, video games have a greater effect on like maybe developing your mind as a young person. So,
Right, and
yeah.
we just keep on wanting to, But as I said, and as the study said as well,
Yeah.
it depends on the type of games, especially for young people, right? Like developing minds. Depends on the type of game you play, right? If you're playing like, mathletics or something, right?
Mathematics.
Yeah, those are the days. But like, if you're playing, I mean, that's not really a game,
Yeah.
right? But if you're
Right.
playing like, games designed for like educational purposes for like younger people,
Right.
it does have a great, beneficial effect. But violent games do not.
Right.
So I guess what I'm basically saying is, don't let your kid play Doom before they can
Hey.
walk.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I know, not for kids though.
Oh.
I mean, look at this. So yeah, that's the effects on. So yeah, that's for little developing minds. What about adults? What about people like us and probably you? What are they beneficial? Do they make people like us smarter? What are your thoughts?
For adults, the thing is, well, their mind is already developed. Hopefully, for most adults.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hey. So for adults, I don't really think like educational games would have a really big effect on like adults, because I feel like when you're an adult, when you're trying to learn and get educated, it's more you want to be more proactive within the education, whereas when you're a bit younger, like you kind of get spoon-fed all your information from like, the school system and stuff.
And
yeah.
educational games, as we talked about,
Yeah.
they're designed for little kids. Well,
Yeah.
they're designed for like basic skills, where
Yeah.
like adults, you've already gotten those skills.
Yeah,
You wouldn't really
yeah.
need.
And if you want to get education as an adult, like you want to pursue like
Right,
the
there's
area of
much
study.
more efficient
Yeah.
ways to like get the niche education you need.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, but one thing that I will say, as like grown people, it does increase just general skills like critical thinking under pressure, and just patience and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I used to be really into Counter-Strike Global
Right.
Offensive back
Yeah.
in a few years ago, right?
How many hours do you have again?
Like 1.3 thousand, right?
Holy
Which is
shit.
that. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but that is nothing compared to some of the people I played with. They have
Right.
like 3,000-4,000 hours of that game,
Shit.
and like we'll do the calculation on how many days straight gaming that is. It's insane.
Yeah.
Either way, I used to be really into it, and yeah, I did kind of have an addiction to it a little bit, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll bring up addiction a bit later.
Yeah,
That's a pretty important topic.
It is,
Yeah.
because there's downsides to games too. But with that, it gave me a lot of skills, just general skills in life. It taught me like your reaction time, because it's such a competitive game where
Yeah.
like if you're late to like shooting
Yeah,
someone
same with
by
me as well,
by
yeah.
like a millisecond, you'll die,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like my reaction time is pretty good in real life as well, because like I've been playing a lot of Doom Eternal recently. That's like my first FPS game that I'm actually really into. But I feel like it's actually useful because when I'm like hanging out with my friends, like especially at night, I always like when I walk, I always kind of look like I don't look straight. I kind of look down towards the footpath. But then when there's like
Do you remember that time?
Yeah.
We were coming home from that club, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we were
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
walking on the
talk about that,
station.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
We were just
yeah.
walking straight, and then
Yeah.
you were like, bro.
Yeah.
And then you stopped me from stepping in like a puddle of vomit.
right.
Right.
Now, how many drinks did you have? Like
Too many.
Too many. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not even that
Yeah.
many actually. I could still
Yeah, yeah.
like,
I think
function
I had a few
normally.
drinks and I could still like
Yeah.
like reaction time was like so good. Yeah.
Well, there
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, I did that like multiple
I
times.
mean, do
yeah.
you accredit that to playing Doom?
Not really. I think it's just video games in general, like fighting games as well. I play
Right.
quite a bit of fighting games, like not as many hours as you, but I feel like
Well,
even the small like frames and stuff, all that stuff is
exactly. It
kind of
just-
helpful in real life.
It trains your mind. No,
Yeah.
it's like playing a sport, right? And playing
Yeah.
a sport with like where you need good reaction time.
Yeah.
That really increases your reaction time in
Yeah.
general, right?
Yeah.
By far, right?
Right.
So does playing games like that. Just like that, you know. They're
Yeah.
both beneficial in different aspects, right?
Yeah.
And you used to play rhythm games as well,
Yeah. So I've been
like music rhythm
like
games.
there's this game called Taiko no Tatsujin. It's like a Japanese like drum rhythm game that's on the Nintendo Switch, and it's at the arcade as well. I've been really into that recently. It's just like basically how you play is you have a drum and then you speak like Don and Ka, and like my name's Don, so and the main character of the game is Don, so
His
there's a bit
name
of-
is Don.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you just put your like username.
Yeah,
as
no,
Don,
I was like, wait,
right?
that doesn't know my name, but his name is actually Don because the drum makes Don sound. So I have a bit of sentiment with that game. So I think it kind of helps me with rhythm. Like I play like like I'm not a musician, but like I have a guitar, like piano, and a drum set at home. I just play like very casually, like when I'm really bored.
Right.
And I feel like the kind of rhythm that you learn, like especially like the like that kind of like rhythm kind of gets stuck in your head, and it kind of helps you keep track with like you know like rhythm as well. Like even when I'm singing, like going to karaoke with mates and stuff, I guess it kind of helps a little bit. Like it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
But,
and even like if you can't put words to this, you know, the skills you get, like
Yeah.
the rhythm and things like that you gained, even if you can't like tell what it helps you with, it's just general things in life that it helps you with. It's just small things here and there every day. You know, that's what it is beneficial in that way, right?
like back to your CS:GO.
It was such a tense game. It's so competitive, right? It's five
Is it
people
still like?
versus five
Is
people.
the fan base still like?
I think it's like one of the most games
Right.
played games
Like
on Steam
still
or second.
How isn't it like 10
It
years
came
old?
out in 2012. It is.
Right. That's like
It
basically
has
20 years,
gained
yeah.
players, not lost. Right?
Right.
It is hyper competitive. There's no single player thing. It's just people playing other people. It's like League of Legends, right? But CS:GO, it's so tense. It's so competitive, right?
Yeah.
There would be so many situations where it'd be like a 1v, like however many, right? I'll be the last person, and it was so much pressure. Everyone's watching you. It helped me to think under pressure a lot and make judgment calls
Right.
and still function under being that much pressure. Just in general, it did help. Got my heart racing like a bitch though. But it did help.
Speaking of heart rate, when I play Doom Eternal, my heart rate increases so much, but there was a really weird thing that I could treat my allergies with because I have a lot of hay fever. I sneeze a lot, especially during
Dust
this
allergies?
spring, dust allergies, and even like pollen allergies, especially during this spring season. I think, it was like a few months ago. I had really bad allergies for a week. Like I would sneeze all the time, but a good treatment is actually playing Doom. I'm not even kidding.
What?
It's because when you start playing Doom, like you gotta like kill all these demons and stuff, and then your heart rate increases, and you're focusing on the game. Like when your heart rate increases, it kind of gets your mind to forget about your allergies.
So is it all in your mind, or does it physically have an effect? Your heart rate going up?
I don't know. I feel like allergies. There's a bit of psychological aspect to sneezing. It's because like when I'm cleaning like dust and stuff, even when I look at dust, like I sneeze straight after. Or like when I'm like putting out the trash, I look at like a bunch of moldy food. Like it makes me react to that, especially because I'm like super sensitive to like the stimulus of like sneezing and stuff. So I feel like playing really high intensive games is a good way to
distract you, keep your mind off it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not get affected by it too much.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just a small thing I want to say.
Random benefit of games.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, if you have really bad allergies,
play Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal, CS:GO, whatever you want. Just go for it. Yeah. And continuing from Doom, like, oh man, I sound like a massive fanboy, but
you are.
Yeah, basically. But I think it taught me like perseverance and determination and like ambition, like in real life in general. Because like Doom guy, he's like the guy, like he will basically defeat all the hordes of demons by himself.
Right, he'll kill anything in front of him.
Like
he's unstoppable.
Yeah, he'll work by himself to just achieve anything, like save the world, all that stuff. Like it's like I don't know, if you look on the internet, like kind of look like Doom stuff, everyone basically worships him. Like Yeah, like look at him. He's fucking jacked, bro. Like,
Yeah, it's your goal, right?
yeah, it's my goal.
You're
Yeah.
heading to the gym.
Yeah. And then I was gonna talk about the gym because like at the gym, I listen to Doom music like half the time. So if you look at my playlist, like like the most recent stuff I have on my Spotify playlist is Doom, like pretty much.
Yeah.
But the really sad thing is they don't have the Doom Eternal playlist
On Spotify.
because I think like the guy who made all the music, Mick Gordon, he's a fucking legend. They had like a dispute with the Bethesda and the company and stuff. I'm not sure if it was Bethesda, but like
The main company.
yeah, the publishers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why he all his music isn't on Spotify, but the Doom 2016 version is on Spotify. So make sure to check that out.
You got me to play Doom, and some of the levels are quite like hard. They are difficult. Some of the puzzles are quite difficult. You need like a lot of patience and then the perseverance to go through and like stick the levels out, right? And that's a shitty skill of mine. I'm not patient much at all, especially in like games where I'm supposed to be just like winding down. I don't want to think and just like struggle and grind for it.
Yeah,
But
like, it kind of pisses me off because like when I like watch you like watch you like stream Doom and like you always skip to tutorials and like, oh, how do you do this? I get so frustrated. So
as I said, I'm patient, but like that's only because you're still there,
right.
So you could just tell me what to do anyways.
Oh, you need me. It's too scary, right?
I mean, yeah. No, but anyways, with Doom, it after a while it did kind of, I did stay patient and persevere, so it did give me those skills, and now I'm like able to go through it much better.
Yeah.
So just in general, it does give you those skills, and plus,
it does,
like especially for someone who has no like reason to be like patient or persevere through some things, right? How they like they don't do anything outside of like their home life that like gives them those skills. Playing games
kind of
like that,
mindset.
Playing games like that will help you compared to nothing, right? Maybe there are better ways for you to learn patience, perseverance, like going to the gym, losing weight, or like dieting, whatever. But if for someone who doesn't do that, this is like, playing games like this is really beneficial.
Right. Yeah.
So you said that playing games exposes you to knowledge that you had no reason to be exposed to before. You said some games like Stardew Valley, Hades. Give me some examples. I think we were talking about it before about like this mushroom that you had no idea what it was.
Yeah. So when you play Stardew, basically there's heaps of varieties of different plants, heaps of fish, a few animals. But one thing that kind of stood out to me about like the farming life and like kind of exposing me to the agricultural life, I guess, is like it's a really weird story. But in Stardew Valley, like you have all these animals that you want to farm and like harvest resources, and you can even name them.
Didn't you name your horse after me?
Yeah, I named your horse after me. yeah. Anyways, okay, I have like a few pigs, but I don't know what their names are. Anyway, let's just call it Pepper, right? So Pepper the pig, I don't know. But when you have pigs, like I'm like, okay, so basically in Stardew, you can't kill your animals, so it's kind of wholesome. So you can't really harvest them for meat. So I guess it's like a non-violent game except for like the combat part, but that's like another part of the game.
So you played Doom and you're preaching Doom, which is like I think it is the most violent game that I know. And now you played. Do you have a game that's more violent than Doom?
Like it's so fictional. So
no, that is true, but like just on its like merits alone, like not realistically. It's
I think
like
it
look at some of the clips, right?
Yeah.
You're like ripping their heads off,
right? The glory kills.
Yeah, you don't think that's fun. Anyways, it's just a nice like there's so much variety as well, and that you can't even kill like a chicken that was raised to be eaten, right?
Yeah, anyways, my pig was, walking around the farm, like, just chilling, like all my other animals do. But then, suddenly, there was just, like, a poof of, like, white cloud, and, like, a brown, like, circle thing appeared out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck? Is he, like, shitting everywhere?
Yeah.
But then I picked it up, and it was a truffle. I'm like, what the fuck is a truffle? Is that a type of shit? And then I searched it up on the internet, and then truffle is a type of mushroom, and it's apparently one of the most expensive type of mushrooms there are. Yeah. So even like really niche things, like knowing what a truffle is.
And then you learned that truffles are found. Explain how truffles are found.
Yeah, and then truffles are found
in real life.
Yeah, they're found. Some I think there's many different ways, but one of the
yeah.
ways is to get pigs to specifically sniff out truffles because like they grow in the ground and they're really hard to find because they're small and they're brown and they're like kind of camouflaged as well. So, using pigs to find truffles isn't a real like method, and that's implemented into Stardew Valley, which is I think is really smart.
And you
as
learned
well.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I learned that through gaming. Yeah.
So that's just like one niche example of something you'd learn
Yeah.
that you had no reason to know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Even like I don't know, like you know those like what's that thing? Like caviar. Yeah, caviar.
Caviar.
Yeah. Caviar is made from a type of fish called a sturgeon. And then yeah, even stuff like that is like
Yeah.
really random.
you just didn't know before that.
Yeah, and yeah, just learning, yeah.
Okay, now talk about Hades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be like, wait, do I have anything I learned from the games niche?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
be like, yeah, and games like RTS historical games like Civilization, Age of Empires, it's games like that I guess did have some impact on my historical knowledge.
Right.
But it wasn't like too deep into like the historical lore and like the factual side of it, but it gave me a lot of like different understanding, like a lot of understanding on different cultures around the world, ancient cultures. So just stuff like that, it really does give you like a wider understanding of everything compared to just sitting and like not really doing anything.
Yeah, and like looking at memes all day or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Or like just browsing social media all day.
Even like talk about the historical stuff, like even with Binding of Isaac, if you remember that game, it's a really old game, but I think the newest update actually came this year. So but if you look at the characters and if you look at the lore of the Binding of Isaac, it's actually based off a biblical story called the Binding of Isaac, where you have like this guy called Abraham, and then he has a son called Isaac, and then he's like, God tells him to sacrifice Isaac just to show his devotion for God.
I remember at one point when you were playing that, you wouldn't shut up about the lore.
What,
like,
really?
Yeah, no, you'd like every other reference like would be like would just say a name, right? Like a random name, and you'd be like, oh, that's the same characters in Binding of Isaac, and you'd go on about the story that you learned through the game.
Yeah, and then like so like even that story is actually like one of the most prominent stories in like biblical literature and stuff. And even the characters there, such as I don't know, like Cain, which is I think it's Isaac's son. No, it's Adam and Eve's like one of their sons. And then there's characters like Eve. I don't know. There's like Magdalene, and there's I don't know, Lazarus, Samson, and then there's like the main base characters.
You learned through that.
Yeah, and then like watching like videos like I don't know, game theory. I think MatPat said that all the like base characters, the one thing they have in common is that they all like committed sin. So I don't know, like except for Isaac, but actually I'm not sure if he did, but yeah, something like even like small like details like that, I guess it kind of made me curious, and it propelled me to like search stuff on the internet and like just look into that stuff by myself. So yeah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even like Hades, which is pretty, would you say it's mainstream, Hades?
Kind of. I feel like only to a certain audience.
Yeah,
so if you don't know what Hades is, it's a game where you're pretty much stuck in the Greek underworld, and you're just exposed.
You don't place Hades. It's Hades' son.
Hades' son,
Zagreus.
right. Zagreus, right?
Yeah,
you're playing as Hades' son, and you're stuck in the Greek underworld, and you have to get out. And you're just exposed to a lot of different Greek gods, right? Which help. I mean, I haven't played it as much. I've played it a little, but he's like played like hundreds.
I've learned some like a lot of fun facts.
Yeah.
So
fun facts.
Yeah, fun fact. Because so basically the whole story of the thing is that Zagreus wants to escape the underworld to wait, why does he want to escape the underworld? I forgot.
Freedom.
No, he wants freedom, and then meet his mom, which is Persephone. But then I found out that like I was just researching this by myself. So basically, you have Zeus and you have all the Olympians like living on Mount Olympus,
right? And
Zeus is like the main, like the main, the strongest god, right? So he marries his wife is his sister, right? But then and they have kids. But then Zeus also had kids with his older sister, which is Demeter, like the ice god in the game. But then their child is Persephone, right? And then Zeus's older brother, who is Hades, marries Persephone. So she's like
nephew? No, sorry, niece.
Wait. Okay, let's think about it. Okay, so you have
I am already.
You have Zeus, right? And then he marries like and marries, I don't know, like
Some
has a
person.
kid
Yeah.
with like her, and then has a child called Persephone, and then his brother
Yeah.
marries the
So
yeah
his niece marries
Yeah.
his niece, which
right it's
right,
just, yeah
yeah. No, it's well, if you know about Greek,
Yeah.
like Greek mythology, you
Yeah.
already know this. It's kind
Yeah.
of messed up, but he didn't know that. But you
Right.
learned that from the game, right? Yeah. What other fun facts have you learned? There's
fun facts. I don't know.
There's a lot to do with incest. Let's get this out of the
Yeah.
way.
Oh yeah. Also, I think I read into this, but Zeus, like how like Zeus came into being is he has a dad called Kronos, and then Kronos is like, he was like one of the original Titans or something. Yeah, it's like one of the
Yeah.
big Titans, but apparently he ate all his children. I don't know why, but he ate all his children, and Zeus somehow
got hungry.
saved all of them,
Right.
and
yeah.
that's how he became the leader or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun facts. Yeah.
I already knew.
Play
that,
video games
but-
for fun facts. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. You learned that.
Yeah.
But I also want to mention that don't play video games for if you want to learn about that, because it is nowhere near the
Yeah.
most efficient way to learn that. You'd have to go through a lot of the game to even get like half the information you'd want to know for like Greek mythology. If you want to learn efficiently, read books, like watch YouTube videos on the specific topic, and this goes for anything like farming, like Stardew Valley, anything, right?
Yeah.
I want to get this out of the way. Gaming is not the most efficient way of learning
but,
facts
yeah.
like that. But I think the greatest thing about it is that it's fun as fuck,
And
right?
curiosity, like it makes you so curious about the world, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Because you want to know, and it's fun. Like it will inadvertently teach you. Like you might just come home from work after a long day and just boot up like some games.
Yeah.
It will inadvertently teach you things like that. So it does make you smarter, even if it's by a little or like by a lot. It does make you smarter, right?
Yeah.
Especially things you would have no interest in learning otherwise. But it's interesting nevertheless.
And
Other
then I think you wanted to bring up about like finances in CS:GO,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So I was, really into CS:GO. It gave me a really good a decent understanding of the stock market when I was much younger. So I'd have no reason to really know why or how the stock market works. Right.
Right.
It gave me a good understanding because there are skins in Counter-Strike where you pretty much skins are paint jobs for your guns, right? And you can just apply it and you can sell them, you can buy new ones, and it's all run by the community. It's sold and bought in a community market where you set the price. If someone, if it's too high, they won't buy it. You lower the price, and like the amount of demand there is, the more you can set the price high and people would want it.
Well, basics of like supply and demand.
Exactly,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But when I learned, how the stock market works when I was younger, right? If there is, it's like it's an actual stock. It's an actual stock market, right? I also, because of that, did some investing when I was
Right.
much younger too,
Yeah.
right? It's just some like I bought skins and like cases that were like I don't know, like $1, a few cents each, on the hopes that it will rise in price later on, and I can sell them for a profit, which is pretty much how investing works, right?
Do you know some people actually make a living off like selling skins?
They could. There are some YouTube videos where like CS:GO players
Yeah.
they buy skins right for
Yeah.
like $5 and they trade and buy and sell
Right.
their way up to higher skins like
Yeah.
thousands of dollars. So if you extrapolate that and do it and consistently and like a lot, you can make a living out of that, which is insane to think about.
Like
It's just
a
a game.
fan, like a fan made. No, it's like a fan base, community
Community-based,
run stock
stock
market.
market, yeah.
You can actually make a living off that.
Pretty
'cause
much, yeah.
Making a living off investing is like a lot of people do that. It's like it's pretty common.
Exactly.
But with video game skins, it's like it's pretty weird.
I mean, you
to
shouldn't
think
try to make a living out of that. It's very like it would be more unstable than the actual stock market, but it's it's possible, which is crazy. Don, have you learned anything financial wise through video games?
about it. Right. Well, let's go back to Stardew Valley. Well, I guess Stardew Valley kind of introduces the concept of investing, right? Because basically the whole gist about the game is like farming, right? But then there's more to farming, but finance wise, it's just you plant stuff. The first thing you plant is actually radish. So you buy radish, you plant it, and then it takes about a few days to grow, and then you get money, right? That's like the whole concept of investing, right?
Yeah,
Is it?
just like normal selling and buying.
Yeah, buying, selling. Yeah. but I think Stardew Valley kind of, I guess it kind of
Gave you like a real experience
yeah
to it.
yeah kind of real experience to
Not a
invest
real,
in.
but like practical.
Yeah, practical experience. Yeah, but yeah, my actually my most impressive feat in Stardew is I almost saved up $10 million.
$10 million.
Yeah, to buy the most expensive item, which is a gold clock.
Shit. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money for a
Yeah.
gold clock.
Yeah, so you're proud of me, right?
I mean, has that helped you
I
in
mean,
life?
not really, but actually, I got a wife and kids in Stardew Valley. Does that impress you? Yeah.
I mean, your life in Stardew Valley sounds much better than in real life.
Yeah,
at least.
actually, my friend said I think I was in high school, like end of high school, studying for my exams, and I would just use Stardew Valley as like a method to escape from my real world, which is just studying at home. It was so painful. And then like I would actually have a wife and kids. So the wife's name is Haley, right? And then yeah, she's the one with the blonde hair. And then I named my child Harold because my full name is Donald, right?
Donald.
And then Haley says Harold.
H for Haley.
Yeah,
Donald.
Like
Harry.
Harold, yeah.
Harold.
Yeah.
Haley. Donald. Harold.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that how you're gonna name your real kid?
I was thinking about that. Like Harold's a pretty cool name, yeah. You reckon, yeah? Like
Yeah.
it's not too common. Like I don't want like a too common name for my child because I want my child to be special.
Harold's a common name, bro.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know anyone called Harold.
I mean, common name in previous generations, but
Right.
yeah. You can think of a name more special than Harold, right? Like how many Shakibs do you know?
Like probably one,
Exactly.
but Shakib's like yeah. Wait, do you know anyone called Shakib? Or
Yeah. There's like this like famous cricketer that just people but not around where we live, right?
Right.
Not really. So,
Okay.
yeah. So video games have the potential to be negative as well. It does. Everyone knows that.
yeah.
You said escapism. Video games have the potential to be really addictive to the point where it has nothing to teach you. It just gets way too burdensome. Like when I got addicted to CS:GO,
Right.
oh man, I was so addicted. I would come home from school and just play like all night. I wouldn't even do homework or whatever for this solid period of time. And even at school, whatever, I'll just like be thinking about it, constantly thinking about it.
Right.
Like the dopamine rush you'd get from playing it.
yeah.
And I'll just look at articles on how to get better, right? At one point, I didn't even play like matches in CS:GO.
Right. What did you do? You just looked at the home screen, like the home screen, just like
I mean, honestly, that would probably I wouldn't be surprised if I did that,
Right.
Because it was like just the thought of it. That's how like into it I was. But at one point, I wouldn't even play matches, like the actual matches. I'd walk up to a wall and shoot at dots to improve my aim. So I'd practice.
You
I'd
actually
spend hours
damn. You
practicing.
actually had no life.
Sorry, who had wife and kids in Stardew Valley,
Okay.
and that was your proudest achievement? $10 million.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
No, but I would spend hours just practicing, right?
Right.
Like just to get better, right? Because that's how invested I was into it. And at one point, or like throughout, I knew I had to stop. Otherwise, I would stop doing even more things that I enjoyed, like going to the gym, just going out with friends. Even like if I had to choose between at one point going out with friends for a night or just playing, more matches of CS:GO and like leveling up and increasing my skill, I'd want to choose the latter, right? I'd want to increase my skill. So as you said, it provides a really good source of escapism, which can be very detrimental if you don't know how to handle that, and especially if your life is going bad outside of video games.
And I think the escapism is even more relevant with today because with like the pandemic and like lockdowns and stuff happening in different countries, I feel like video games have been a pretty trendy thing pretty recently.
Right.
Just by looking at the news, just talking to people and stuff.
Yeah, even the connectivity with video games now. It provides like you can just connect with
good
friends.
escapism,
Yeah.
Especially,
Which is not bad. It's good, right? You remember how we when we first met at school, right? Remember on the long train rides home, like 40 minutes, right? We used to, like another thing we want to talk about is video games, like it gets you, like it helps you make friends, right? And connections, right? I remember in like multiple years ago, we had spend 40 whole minutes on a train every single day just to get home from school, right? And we used to sit together and we used to play. What was the game?
It was Drive Ahead.
Drive Ahead.
Drive
where you
Ahead.
had to we'd like
Drive
verse
Ahead.
each other every
Oh,
single afternoon,
Yeah.
and I think we had a bet going on. Whoever would have the most wins by the end, and we would track it. Would get something. Do you remember who won?
What happened?
I don't know.
I think we kind of stopped
you
playing.
won.
Yeah.
And then I think I gave you my Xbox 360.
Wait, was that part of the bet?
I wasn't part of the bet, but I want to
let's
give it to you,
yeah,
and
let's
I
just
just
keep-
made it a part.
Let's just keep it that way.
Yeah, I want to bet. No,
Well, you want it back?
no. But yeah, no. And just the online aspects of video games as well,
yeah.
where it does provide a good sense of community, which
Yeah.
also is that much more dangerous. If people will like, hold on, it's dangerous because and then you say this part like that one line and it's fine. Like and video games, ability to make. Video games abilities to help you make friends online and all that.
yeah.
It's quite beneficial,
Yeah, especially like even like big gaming communities. Like I know that the fighting game communities are pretty big, pretty social wise. I actually never been to a fighting game community. Like considering I play quite a lot of Smash Bros and Street Fighter. But yeah, I really want to go to one of those. I feel like it'll be really fun. Like make new friends. Just get into the social aspect of gaming rather than
Right.
I don't know. I usually play like games by myself. Yeah. Nah, but when I observe in high school, like the younger kind of cohort, they tend to hang out and just kind of build friendships and stuff through games, like just mobile games. Even at school, I think remember in the school like computer labs.
Oh, man.
Yeah, when we used to play, was it COD? Yeah,
Dude,
COD. Yeah.
during our IST lessons, the boys would just, instead of doing our work, we just open up a bootleg version of Call of Duty. It was like really old version of Call of Duty.
It was the very first COD, wasn't it?
It was right. We'd play that and we'd set up like a local server and we'd just play that all lesson, right? At one point, I think I got a letter sent home because I sent in nothing for my assessment, whatever. I don't regret it. But at one point, I think I got a letter sent home for not doing anything on my assignment, like
Right.
handing in nothing. I got a
Right.
0 and a letter sent home.
Oh.
Because I was just playing Call of Duty with the boys,
Right,
all lesson. So I guess it does have detrimental aspects, as we said.
Yeah.
But at least now I know how to alt tab really quick, from things I shouldn't be looking at, right?
Right,
So I guess
yeah.
it does help you at boring
Oh yeah,
9 to 5
talk about-
jobs.
What's that thing like? It's like reaction timing. Yeah, reaction
Right,
timing.
exactly.
Obviously, reaction
And,
timing.
like,
Yeah.
And awareness,
Yeah.
Oh shit, there's a teacher. Alt tab, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But back to like social aspects.
Yeah.
Even during the lockdown, where a lot of people just stay at home. I feel like video games actually kind of help you sustain those like friendships and kind of bonds.
Connect as well.
Yeah, especially my brother next door. I'll just hear him laughing and screaming while he's playing GTA with his friends. But unfortunately, like he makes friendships by stealing like money from banks. So
Robbing banks.
yeah, robbing banks. So yeah,
Well, at least now he knows 10 different ways to rob a bank, huh?
I don't know, education.
Video games really do help you in
Yeah,
life.
education. Yeah,
Yeah. So overall, video games has pros and cons, especially when it comes to learning.
yeah.
But I feel like if learning is your main goal, video games they are not good at all. There are much more efficient ways to learn about things you want to learn about. Read a book, watch videos on it. There's so many better ways, right? But one thing I will say is that the it indirectly teaches you, right?
Yeah, I think like the one thing you want to say is it develops your curiosity, like I
As
said
well.
towards the start
Yeah.
of this podcast.
Yeah.
And curiosity is, I think, the most important thing for learning. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially learning about things you wouldn't necessarily know.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, video games they help you, get smarter, by like the fact that you play it just to have fun, wind down, and they also gives you life lessons, just skills in life that and knowledge in life that you wouldn't have necessarily gained otherwise, right?
Yeah.
That's a good aspect. It indirectly gives you those skills.
And the social aspects too.
Too.
I guess increases your emotional intelligence. I don't know. Is that emotional? Like, how do you say it?
Yeah, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
With a balance, it does. If you become a hermit,
right? Yeah.
and like only play games,
so it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to find the perfect balance, right? It helps you stay connected, especially during lockdown. It like gives you a reason to chill with your friends. But,
yeah. But overall, I think that was a pretty good conversation for today. We basically covered everything we want to talk about, the pros and cons, and it was a much wider,
broader topic than I anticipated. Right? There's
Yeah.
so many different avenues to talk about.
Yeah, and tell us in the comments if you have any experiences with yourself becoming wiser or more educational through video games. It'd be pretty interesting. Yeah,
more educational through video games.
Yeah, that's a word, isn't it?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, all right, but tell us in the comments if playing video games has made you any smarter than you were. Yeah.
And
you've gained any
fun
skills.
stories and stuff. Yeah.
So guys, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more of this.
Please subscribe. We only have 9 subscribers.
We do. It's true.
Anyways.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Catch you in the next one.